But you do have 2 slugs at this point, Xantex in the trial. Maybe generator number 5 will come out very, very soon. I'm not too sure about these generators in the distance. I mean, generator number 5 at this point would also be a great step, and a very important step score-wise, because then you would put the win condition up to an escape. But with Nia getting located here, no Unbreakable being in the trial queue, I think we will open with a 4K.
Hey, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube. April of 2022 brings us Struggle of Survival from Dead by Esports with the Wolfpack, of course. And our first round action already starting off with some great action here. Today, you are actually going to be sitting in on a matchup between Dawn and Aberration. We're going to be seeing the Oni, the Nurse, and the Plague in this best of 3 action. You're not going to want to miss any of it. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave it a like and a comment. That's going to help us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, we can catch you right back here for that next video, since we're doing a lot of these DBD comp videos here recently, all right? But until we catch y'all back for the next one, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard, all right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.
Welcome back, everyone, to our second matchup of today. It's going to be Aberration facing Dawn, and we're going to start with the Oni on the Coal Tower. Bulletar coming out for Team Aberration here, and we do see the first chase being taken at the jungle gym. Usually a safe spot here, but Xantex making a huge mistake, running into the killer really early. We also see 2 survivors rotating down, and Xantex now holding W away from the corrupted area into the active gens. Q, this looks like a horrible start.
Yeah, this is not the start that you were looking for. Oh no, even realizing it as soon as doubling back in, nothing to do but sit there and look at the Oni coming right at you. That's going to be a down 60 seconds into the trial here. That's also going to be a down here that's in the back portion, I guess you can call it, of your uncorrupted generators here as well. You don't have Ruin here as far as protecting you, or helping you, I should say, as far as with regression, but Boltar does right now currently have a power activated here, or not activated, but holding on to a power here that they can activate. An extra 10 seconds to go with that to stay in the power. Thanks to the Lion's Fang, Boltar has found 1 survivor here at the jungle gym. I think they found him out of place, locker play here to avoid the demon dash. However, now going to be finding at least the first M1 here on to the Dwight as they're jumping back into the locker. Nowhere else to go but to stay in there and at least force the grab animation. Allows enough time for the save across the map. But this is now hook stage number 2 before the corrupt is off the generators here. And that's also now on this generator that has the most progress. Up pop goes the Weasel Kick as well.
This is now going to be a difficult spot for our survivor team. You have 2 hook stages against the Oni on 5 generators still standing. This is sometimes a result the Oni gets in an entire match, but especially on 5 generators. The confidence for Bulletar, the pressure for Bulletar, and the dropped generator efficiency based on the replanning the survivor team needs to do now. Setting up the unhook, going for resets after Mark has been unhooked here. It's going to be really, really tough, and Bulletar is doing a really good job in just guarding this hook. And considering how early we had this hook stage coming through, I totally agree that you should push this survivor into the second stage here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very easy decision here to make, and doesn't even look like they're going to be moving in here, and understandably so, probably trying to split this pressure up amongst the multiple gens. Here is a Claudette that is going to be pulling away from this generator here at the Pride Rock itself. However, there were just a few blood orbs left to allow for Boltar to be able to get into the power. Now trying to work their way around this tile, not going to be able to find connection. Actually decides to go ahead and double back and double check on the hook there. Nobody around, and instead comes back and trying to play a little bit of a mind game here. At least should be able to remove the pallet out of the way at this point. Now with the first generator getting popped, we do have the aura confirmation thanks to to the Rancor there, but you will notice not able to make the connection onto the Claudette here. There's going to be generator number 2 getting popped off in the distance here as well. And I understand that you've got at least a couple of gens. I still think you probably should have been able to at least move in for the save while the Claudette had your aggro here.
Now going to use the mobility of the power to put pressure immediately onto that next survivor here. You don't find someone for now, so they survive this power. Good news for our survivor team. 3 healthy survivors also, so you do not need to worry about one of your teammates constantly spreading around some blood orbs. So there's the chance for a recovery, but this next chase, we often talk about one crucial chase in the mid game that is potentially making some changes. This is really needed, but unfortunately Xantex once again losing a mind game at the jungle gym here, and this is going to lead into more blood being dropped. So this is really, really tough for Team Dawn here.
Yeah, I mean, we do see, I mean, they're going to be trying to play this patient, pre-leaving these gens, kind of the way that we're seeing now. I mean, our really early throw of the pallet there, I think, shows as far as the sort of feeling that we have from our survivor team here, from Team Dawn, as you were talking about. I mean, really throwing things a little bit early, almost like you're just feeling the sense of needing to play it safe. Still took the M1, unfortunately, as well. Now giving Boltar the option whenever they see the next survivor to be able to go into that demon dash power and be able to start putting some additional pressure down. Also going to be seeing Nia rotating up towards the top side of the map here, going and moving into the TNL. I mean, you can make a play over on this side of the map. I don't know how much time you're going to be able to buy. Of course, there's not too much that to be able to work with here, especially as we do see Boltar showing a whole lot of patience, not falling for any dives at the window, instead just holding W to be able to close the distance and go ahead and establish the down.
Now going to be hook stage number 5 coming in onto Xantex. So you do also have another survivor that is removed from the trial very, very soon here. Boleta might push this survivor team into the 2v1 scenario. He has the power, and there's a lot of blood over here as well. So potential additional power can come out very, very soon here. We do see the pallet drop by our Adam. Boleta now moving back towards this top side over here. It's going to be Vinia. Xantex once again not successful in the mind game so far. Hopefully finding back the fight for this match, but this is going to be Claudette working as a protection here. This is really good though, because Xantex is really not the survivor you want to have on hook as well, because that would be the elimination. Nice stun now by Xantex. Great moment to pick up the performance in this match here. Really, really important for his team. Great run around the main building now. Boleta needs to slow it down, and this is a lot of time being taken here. So if Adam can pick up the Claudette, a whiff coming out too. Really strong chase by Xantex now.
Yeah, doing a good job to be able to pull that aggro away. Not sure if we're going to be seeing the Adam rotating over to be able to get our friend up off of the ground here. We would understand why they might instead try to commit to the generator, but of course with one person being on the ground, that means one less person who can also be crushing out the generators themselves. There's going to be generator number 4 getting complete though, so that does mean more time that we have a survivor still here on the ground. Also gives Boltar a little bit of information as far as to where we have our last survivors in the trial here. We see getting a little bit of the blood here, about 50% progress towards the power itself. Now going to be seeing the pickup onto the Claudette, but that does require a second person. We have 2 people. We know both the Adam and the Claudette both sitting back here working in this jungle gym. We do have a pallet still up here. Claudette getting caught out of position though. Head on from the Adam, unfortunately just a little too late.
The head-on was a very great idea though. Liked to see it. Interesting that Boleta is not picking up the blood here, because he says, I can just finish this with a few M1s here. I don't need the mobility. Now he's going for it as Forgiven went onto the ground here, but you do have 2 slugs at this point. Xantex in the trial. Maybe generator number 5 will come out very, very soon. I'm not too sure about these generators in the distance. I mean, generator number 5 at this point would also be a great step, and a very important step score-wise, because then you would put the win condition up to an escape. But with Nia getting located here, no Unbreakable being in the trial queue, I think we will open with a 4K.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's a great way to come out here on the killer side, to be able to come out, set the pace here. I know we talk about it often, how it's a lot easier said than done, but you're setting your survivors up to be able to come out and say, hey, it doesn't matter about if you get shut down after the last gen pops. All you need to do is simply come out and get all generators complete. And, you know, with all of our slugs being pretty well close to the middle of the map here, it should be easy enough for Boltar to be able to come around and make sure you secure these slugs as well. Not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but this does indeed look like a 4K to me, and just honestly really good performance from Boltar here.
Very, very strong opener for Team Aberration, and therefore we are going to have a lot of pressure onto Team Dawn. They need to come out with a really, really impressive killer performance. 2 generators need to be still standing when we get the 4K onto Team Aberration, and we have seen Aberration in the past, a very, very strong team here. So this is being not really easy. And Q, what do you think? Will we see something risky like a Ruin Undying, or do you keep it safe with a Thanatophobia and maybe Brutal Strength, more about the resources in an aggressive way?
I would imagine we are going to see, kind of as we had saw in the first matchup, where coming in knowing that you need to get the game done, or at least prevent the 5th gen from popping. I would not be surprised at all to see a Ruin with the Undying, and then even a Pentimento to back it up once the Ruin gets popped, to be able to buy yourself some time. Hopefully, maybe you know, also doing a little bit of a rain dance to RNG just to help things out. Maybe get the first Ruin that gets cleansed to be right by where your first hook is, so you can have that Pentimento. We've kind of seen that happen a couple times and really work into some of our killers' favor. But I think, one, you need to have a very strong game, and also have a few things, kind of a few chips fall in the right favor, you know?
All right, quick restart because of 3 borrowed times. That makes a little difference on the score side of Aberration here. We do drop to 26 points right here. So this means technically all generators have been done. And this means that you need to escape now, which switches the things a little bit up here.
Yeah, that's going to be a very costly mistake. Does put a little bit more pressure down here now onto your survivors. Going to be interesting to see as far as how they respond here, because sometimes we'll see where teams will take a penalty, be able to come back out, respond in very strong fashion. Sometimes we see where they'll allow the first set of mistakes to kind of compound upon to one another and cause some discomfort and discommunication between teams here. But we do see now, we saw one survivor heading back towards the corrupt side of the map. Does look like Forgiven here, understanding the assignment, doesn't want to take chase back onto that side of the map. Understandable, especially because we've also have a Undying that was cleansed, protecting a Ruin that is still up here. So if you can put pressure on these gens, at least get a little bit of regression before it gets cleansed.
Yeah, before it gets cleansed, Q, right? It's just a few seconds here. Maybe regressed a few % there on the generator. It's actually really, really tough here, right? Because you just had the penalty. Now you have all survivor perks available, so you are in quite a good spot, and you can also go for an end game now and keep the survivors in the trial, and then they are knocking out your Ruin and Undying. A really, really strong move by Aberration here, same as the chases they're putting up on the table here. 2 minutes into the trial, Corrupt Intervention now going to expire, so this means all 7 generators can be attacked, and the resources of Coal Tower by far not outsourced yet.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of limiting how many of those they are using in the early portion of the trial, showing a lot of patience pre-leaving. I do think there, as we're talking about it, unfortunately, a little bit of a caster's curse, catching Ace a little out of position. However, continuing to hold the W through the jungle gym itself will actually allow Ace to be able to build some distance. Looks like it's maybe some quick and quiet value as well at the window to be able to get the vault at without being detected there at first, which allows more distance to be built. Now seeing a pre-throw of the pallet here in this jungle gym. We saw 2 generators popping, so we know that the survivors are very quickly attacking those generators here. And even though they may have thrown a couple of pallets at this point, there's still a few left on the tiles. So if Ace can get a good chase here by also extending the chase without taking a hit at the window, starting to put some pressure down on the survivor side.
Very, very needed also. We need pressure. We need a turn into this game here. Mag now running back towards the main building behind the cold tower. So the killer also far away from those generators at the bottom. But after that one generator down there, you're really, really forced to operate here at the top side. So the chases now need to be holding W towards the shack side, and we can see exactly that by another baby TTV here going down back there, immediately returning though, and I think we can slowly tell that Aberration is feeling really, really confident.
Yeah, Aberration seems to be feeling very good right now, doing it, you know, just a good job of being able to kind of keep their heads collected here. I mean, just playing very patiently, putting extra pressure down by still limiting the fact that there hasn't been a health state change. We haven't been able to see a first use of the power. There's generator number 3 that did get popped while we were talking there. Now going to be seeing the M1 to at least allow for a health state change here. But I mean, right now, Forgiven is going to need to get big value out of this one use of the power.
This is now going to be the down though onto Bolded here, so you do have to go for a run, and this is exactly what we're going to see. The slug is coming through. You need to break this door here first, but if you catch a second survivor, that would be quite needed in order to put the pressure on, because remember, we just need one stage out of this door, and actually there's no survivor in the lock here, so you lose some time. 15 seconds of the power here. Mac going down. This now the chance to make a turn.
Yeah, this is going to be big. I mean, we're going to be seeing the pickup here. You do want to make sure you can at least secure a couple of these slugs. Maybe at least make sure you get one on the back corner here. Unfortunately, they did break up the 3-gen that was up on this top side of the map, making the way around the hill here. You also see that our survivor, the Nia, was being able to get picked up off of the ground here as well. And man, that's just tough. We're seeing so much, I mean, just really good coordination we've seen thus far from Aberration. And they've been a team that we've seen, I would say, progressively get better over the last couple of months. They were always kind of a team that put up some good results, but here as of lately, especially on the survivor side, I feel like they've really been able to have some really good like showings like we're seeing here.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Aberration has been really, really efficient. Their survivor side always a little bit stronger. And this is now going to be the next power and potentially the last power. 11 stages to go here for the 4K, and they are going to leave out of the door here. This might be actually difficult, as we do see a hatch attempt, but this is not going to happen because our Nia left the shack a little bit. So we're going to see a 3-man out of the door here onto Bolded, now dying. So a 4-stage game, and this means Aberration is taking this first set here with, actually, we can tell that, a lot of confidence.
All right, let's take another trip on back into the fog, this time on the deadest of dogs here. Going to be seeing Aberration trying to come out on the survivor side. However, we see the survivor here, another baby TTV, getting found very, very quickly by the killer from Dawn, Xantex, getting it down not even 30 seconds into this trial.
This was a very, very strong start for Team Dawn here, and this is exactly what they are looking for after this difficult Oni set they just played. And Xantex already locating the next survivor over here. It's going to be our Ace running behind the main building and trying to get some distance, but so far really, really strong showing by Xantex here, trying to blink on this survivor of Ace, but is going to make sure that he's not taking too much risk here. Another tag coming out. So far, I can only say that this looks really, really promising.
Yeah, nice strong start here. You've got yourself a down. You've got yourself another pick here through the window. Xantex here still also has another baby. TTV is still injured. So that does mean 10%, now 5% slowdown onto the one survivor who's probably working on a gen, as the reset did come in after the unhook. However, it is the tap who was just on the hook that we happen to find yet again back here, back behind the water tower. Two confident blinks here by Xantex. That allows the tag here. Now Xantex still trying to follow these scratch marks here, trying to follow up, get a second swing here, and that's going to be a down again onto another baby. TTV. Do keep in mind, though, they were just up on the hook. The question is there a decisive strike? And the answer is unfortunately no. Hook stage number 3 already for our killer from Dawn.
3 stages so far, and we don't have a generator yet. Absolutely incredible performance so far by Xantex. This is going to be attack onto the arena as well. So you're really keeping the pressure up. You're not giving them a slight moment to go for something, anything like a reset, some heals, a new strategy. Nothing like this. They're constantly under pressure, and if our killer is keeping this up, if Xantex moves forward with this, it's actually going to be really tricky for Team Aberration here.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much right now working in Xantex's favor. I mean, you have 3 injured states, which means 15% slowdown on anybody that is working on a gen. If they happen to get pushed off the generator, your gen starts regressing at 200% thanks to the ruin that's still in play here as well. That's also another baby TTV back up on the ground, back up onto the shoulder here from Xantex, and that will be hook stage number 4 altogether in the trial. But that's the 3rd one onto our tap here, so that is now going to be an elimination down to a 3v1. Ruin still in play, and only 1 gen to show for it. This is a really strong start.
Absolutely, and now they are down by a survivor here. Claudette has a little bit to work with, though. She's turning that into a really strong chase here behind the main building. Blink coming out onto the survivor over here. This is going to be the next one, and not finding the down here. She's going to stay on the longer run, and this mid-game chase will be really needed, because we definitely need some additional generators here before we see the potential eliminations coming through.
Yeah, and this is tough here because you had mentioned, you know, Xantex hasn't really allowed any time for our survivors to do anything, including resetting right now. So 1, gens are slowed down. 2, everybody running around is just 1 M1 away from being down on the ground. Nice dead hard, though, from the Zarina to at least prolong this chase just a little bit longer. However, that is now going to be actually the Claudette that does come out and gets thrown in the direction of Xantex. It's interesting to... I'm not sure if that was a miscommunication or if there's a strategy to this.
I'm not entirely sure here. It definitely looks a little bit tricky. Now we're taking the down onto this arena, but we do get the wiggle free. But Xantex doesn't worry about that too much. It's just confidently going after the next survivor here. So really just from the first second, really impressive performance here. And if he keeps that up, it's going to be the challenge for our survivor team to get as many generators as possible out of the way here. And then you would need to match this nurse performance. That's the next difficult challenge.
Yeah, we do see, though, a very quick save coming in here might allow for our team to at least get to some safety. That ruin right now, putting in so much pressure. It's one of those perfect examples of why Ruin gets selected so often, even though we do time and time again see where a Ruin, even sometimes protected by an Undying, both get cleansed in the first minute. But sometimes when you can get into a trial like this and continue to compound that pressure down, and you are able to keep the survivors away from the totem, the amount of value that you can truly get from a Ruin is honestly, it's unmatched pretty well by any other pick that you see commonly from our killers. And it's amazing to see when it works.
Have to agree on that. We also still have the Hex Ruin here. As you mentioned earlier, these Hex Totems doing so much work, especially when you have a good control over the survivor team and there it is. The next down onto the Claudette here. 6 stages so far, and it doesn't seem like Xantex is going to stop anytime soon. It's going to be this straight rehook of the Claudette. So 7 stages, 2 injured survivors. I think we can tell by the fact that they're staying injured that they're trying to knock these generators out for any price, because once you go for the reset, you will lose the pressure. A nice blink to avoid the DH here as well. It's going to be the next down. So this leaves Ace. At this point, you should actually consider an endgame play.
Yeah, especially because, I mean, it does seem that at this point the Survivor has noticed, or Survivor squad, I should say, has noticed where the totem is. It feels like a couple times Xantex just came over this way and has been pushing a Survivor off that thing. I think you've got to start thinking about the end game, because I don't know if with the Ruin being up, you have the time to be able to get a 3rd gen complete. So you have to at least be able to try and get some sort of point swing here. And I mean, it's just, honestly, Xantex has just been able to come out, have the momentum and just all the pressure from the word go. Here we have another Survivor being able to be tracked down by those scratch marks, coming back behind the water tower, towards the water tower. That's going to be the Claudette here. And I mean, now maybe trying to set up for the end game, but I think right now it's just, you've got to be almost feeling like helpless as a Survivor, right?
Kinda, yeah. It's when the killer, especially a killer like Nurse, right? Once they are really, really activating and really making sure, yes, I'm having the control over the map. I'm not giving you a space to... I mean, Aberration had the right ideas, going for the unhooks, going for the heals. They just had no chance doing that. And that's the difficult spot here. And I do think we do see an Ace trying to commit to this generator over here. Would have been really, really important. 2 points. Unfortunately, it's just going to be the down. And therefore, we are going to see a 4K on 3 generators remaining, which is honestly just outstanding.
Yeah, that's that was very, very impressive to watch, just to come out, especially because we know the situation that Dawn was in here, already down. You know, they lost the first set point, then to be able to come out, take control like this, really setting the pace. I mean, I would anticipate we'll be seeing another impressive Nurse performance, but to be able to come in and say, hey, we only need to get 3 gens done, like, you got to be feeling good about that. That way you can at least force it into overtime.
Welcome back, everybody, to Dawn facing Aberration. It is now going to be Aberration on the killer side. 4 points for our team. That means we need to see a 4K on 4 generators still standing. And this was a really good opener here, and this is unfortunately not going to be in the first hit. A little bit too greedy here, trying to go for the 1 blink, keeping it a little bit safer. Would have potentially been the very first down here, and now Claudette going on a quite strong run.
Yeah, it's a very good start here as far as for our Survivors here, knowing that they only have to get a couple of generators complete. There is going to be the Ruin cleansed across the way, and that does mean now our generators aren't going to be regressing. You do already have a hook though, so that's 1 stack as far as your Thanatophobia goes, which means a little bit of a slowdown onto those generators. But as for now, that's the only thing that's going to be affecting those generators. We do see though, I'm not sure which Survivor that was, but we are pushing them away from the generator here at the gallows, trying to locate, might be actually doubling back towards the unhook here. I do see a very quick reset coming in, however, so that does mean no one's going to be able to be put onto the ground with just 1 M1, but it does mean now it's going to be time for other people across the map to just simply work on some generators.
It's now going to be the Mac with another attack here. I was about to say Laurie. It's going to be the Mac with a nice firecracker here. Prediction coming in. Very strong over here, but there's going to be 1 generator out already. So you would need to have 10 additional stages right here, right now, which is going to be really, really difficult, especially with the Hex Ruin being removed from the trial. We do see the blink into the shack. What a nice Just one blink straight from the hook here. This is what you need if you want to finish that with a win for you.
Yeah, and you are able to get at least the first hit, unfortunately getting caught on the very edge of the wagon. They're not going to be able to finish the chase here with the Atom, at least right away here. We do see, however, across the way, another unhook coming in there. Also, though, a very good down from Boltar. But you had mentioned it. Not only the ruin being taken out of the way, but we had another totem that was up and had already gotten cleansed that maybe Boltar could have been able to get some mid-game pressure with, being the Devour Hope. Our survivors, though, have already cleansed both of them. And I see that broken status is there still on the Megan, which makes me think maybe that was a deliverance that we had seen there, which means our survivors could more so just hold the M1 on the gens and just get these last two done.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a very nice job on the totems. They're getting rid of these immediately. Now trying to get the down onto Mac once again. It's now going to come through. Difficult sentence here. It's going to be generator number 2, so that's at minimum the tie, even though if you get 4K here, but the Gallows generator has a lot of progress, and I'm pretty certain that one of these generators in the houses has quite some progress as well. Then one next to Water Tower here as well. So I do think generator number 3 is just around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear that one in front of the water tower over there, around 80-85% off in the distance. So we know at least that one. And then you had mentioned the Gallows also very far along. And I mean, kind of expected from our survivor squad here. I mean, did a very good job splitting up early, and we had, you know, just some time to be able to hang on those gens there as well. Even it's one of those things where I don't think we talked about multiple times really through comp DBD, where it's not so much about Boltar making any mistakes, it's just the survivors have just been able to come in and play just a almost perfect game.
And there it is, generator number 3 coming out by Team Dawn. So we're moving into the tiebreaker here. We need set number 3 to force a decision for this match. So it's going to be a very, very interesting match with the Plague here. And actually, fun fact, I just realized the Plague is the tiebreaker killer or the set 3 killer on every of our matchups. Is that the new trend that you want to play Plague to break your tie?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because we do see also, I mean, we had seen that the Oni was a very often picked, but also just across the board, at least one high mobility killer. But for it to end on the Plague is very interesting. I just don't know if that's because it's a killer where no one has a preference playing against also as, so she just kind of falls into that position in the tiebreaker. But it's very interesting to see her there. And I think especially when you talk about on this set, we started with the Oni where you needed to have the strong early game to get your power. Now we were on the Nurse, which is, you know, a lot of instant decision making on a small map. Now moving back to the Plague, which is on Suffocation Pit, really putting our survivor squads to the test here.
Yeah, this is something important to mention. The Survivor Squad definitely needs to show a really, really strong performance here. There's going to be generator number 4. So the Survivor team also decides, yes, our teammate can stay on the ground for a little bit longer. Nice double back by the Nia here in order to prevent the down. So this gives Adam some time to rotate back and pick up the Slug, which is expected by Bulleta. He's now going back towards the Gallows area. We don't see Adam anywhere around, but the pickup came through, so maybe they're already gone, or it was a delayed unbreakable right there. For now, you just kick these generators and try to put up the best possible performance here in order to set your team up for the third set.
Yeah, I think the big thing right here is, even though you've already had a decision for the survivors, you would like to be able to follow it up with even getting some outs here. It's kind of like the big momentum swing. You got your killer was able to get the 4K. If you can get some stages out here, that would have you feeling really good heading into set number 3, the tiebreaker set, especially because on the survivor side, you're going to be starting set number 3 out here again on the survivor side. So if you can kind of take that little bit of extra, like that moral victory, would be really big. I mean, you can even see done a good job I mean, played a little bit into a 3-gen here, but 2 of them are the elevated gens. Granted, it's against the nurse, but it's stuff that you would have to work around. Make sure that you're really getting those perfect blinks to get up too. So they've been working hard here. I wouldn't be surprised to see them really grind this thing out here and get at least 2 out.
Yeah, the outs would be such a great signal for the upcoming set number 3. Very nice chase by our Nia here, going behind the main building, kept the dead hard as well. So this is now going to be some seconds lost once again that can be put into a generator. Bulletize dropping the chase, actually going back towards the main building. Nice double back, but not enough to prevent the hit here. So it's going to be back to 2 survivors being injured at this point. Thanatophobia doing a 10% slowdown bonus for you as well. And Adam and Nia both doing a great job in getting away from the killer. So potentially we're going to see these two resetting each other. And that would mean we are with a lot of pressure back onto these generators.
Yeah, and we do see at this point, Boltar has come over, has been able to disrupt the Meg, who is the sole fully healthy survivor, was working on that Gallows gen. Sounds like that thing's around 40, maybe 50%, somewhere in that range. So still has quite a bit of progress needed. It isn't quite as far as that generator was up on top of the saloon. However, we do have to keep in mind, if they aren't getting reset, maybe we've got our 2. Okay, we do see at least the Nia getting set here. I was gonna say, if they don't get reset, maybe is it one of those things where we see them both doubled up on this gen? That not being the case, though. There's the Nia getting tagged. Makes me wonder where the Adam is, though.
Yeah, the Adam hasn't been around for quite a while now, right? So maybe he is preparing a different generator, or just trying to team up with a teammate very soon. Not go. Yeah, there it's going to be the reset onto the Adam here. So they are actually. I really like how Dawn, even though they won this already, not just throwing away, not just saying, hey, let's go into the next set. They're playing out the best possible performance here to set themselves in a good spot, and I really, really like to see that, because they're doing a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where even if, especially if, I'm not sure if Boltar is going to be the one who comes out and plays killer in the Plague set, but if you can kind of just put the little bit of pressure down into the nerves, kind of taking a little bit of extra time, the extra focus could be something where you kind of wear down, even if the next matchup happens to go a little bit longer, because sometimes we do see those Plague sets can kind of be more of the stalemate. So if you can, wear them down just a little bit more by also kind of getting the, we said multiple times, the extra moral victory of getting some outs here. It's worth noting, though, Boltar's done a very good job of not overcommitting to anything, making sure that they're doing a good job monitoring their 3-gen that they do have at this point. We do see some survivors coming up towards the Gallows gen at this point in time. I think that's the Nia back here. Yeah, she's got the flashlight, going to be able to prevent the second blink at least. But as Nia does bring the aggro back into this corner, that might allow the Adam to get the main generator done, which would at least allow them to start working on the doors at that point. Good job, though, avoiding the first one. Here's the second blink. Also going to be missing with the swing here. A little bit of extra time. This should be allowing for the 5th gen to pop, and maybe even seeing us get these doors open.
There will be a 2-man escape is what I predict if we get and there it actually is. So this is going to be the next challenge now for the killer. How many stages can you keep in the trial here? That's going to be the difficult task. So now we do see some scratch marks over here, so one survivor will definitely not leave the trial. It's going to be our injured Nia. A little bit of nodding, but I'm fairly certain that Mac and Adam are leaving the trial on the other side of the map here, which would wrap it up with quite a lot of stages out of the door here in opposite to set number 1. So going into the Plague set, Dawn with the dominant factor here.
All right, let's take another trip on back into the fog. Trial number 5 thus far between Dawn and Aberration. Going to be seeing Boltar out for Aberration here on the Plague on Suffocation Pit. We did get one start of an infection on to the Adam. Also able to find the Claudette here, so starting to spread the pressure as far as getting people towards the sickness here. Of course, Adam not nearly as close as Claudette is because Claudette continues to get puked on by, oh, very nice play with the M1 there to be able to block the window. Actually, really well done by Boltar here, trying to make sure they clutch the Claudette here out of position, trying to wait for the last little bit here to be able to get down into the actual broken status effect. That way you can just get the simple M1, but instead we see Claudette makes the window just in time.
Just in time, yeah. The good news is you have kept her long enough at the rock to force the full infaction. But I do think Bolita wanted this down 20 seconds ago. So now Claudette can go on a run here. We will have the window potentially. No, it's going to be the down at the main building. Is unfortunately not going on the longer run. But you're down deep in the corrupted areas. So the survivors had enough time now to spread across the generators on the bottom side. And we can see that there is actually a lot of work that needs to be done, but this might be very tricky here. Oh, he's even going for the back hook. That's a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that's a lot of confidence there, knowing that you have just enough time. I would imagine that timer was getting pretty close there, but now that's going to be a basement hook. The corrupt did just come off of the generators on this side here. If they weren't able, oh, they've gotten no progress onto that middle gen there here as well. Boltar actually looking very, very good. Yeah, you lost 2 generators here, but you're even 3 generators here. But I mean, I feel like they probably would have wanted to try and at least, I was gonna say attack the one that's a little bit closer here, because you've got a pretty nice gen setup. I think that's 4 on this side because the middle gen is brought up a little bit closer to the main building side here.
Now going to puke on these generators here in order to make sure that he does get a little bit of information once the survivor is hopping on it. We can see now that the basement location after these 3 generators have been cut out from the trial are becoming really, really strong, or is becoming really, really strong, because now you can guard the hook and the generators as well. Very nice stun here by our survivor, but 3 injured across the board. Very soon they will be broken and at 5% slowdown each due to the thanatophobia here. So that's going to be quite some value in a few seconds. And the question is, will we actually see the confident camp into the elimination? If so, we definitely need 1 additional generator out of this 4-gen setup.
Well, what's interesting here was seeing that we had 2 survivors that we were not in chase with both become sick. Makes me think that they committed to one of the gens that Boltar had just recently vomited on. But the question is, are they on the same generator? Because if they were on the same generator, whether it be the middle one or this one over here by the water tower, it'd be quite far along. It actually seems like this one back here by the water tower has a decent amount of progress. So maybe committing to the generators here could have been the decision that worked out in their favor here, because you can also hear that one in the middle has a lot of progress. But we have both the Adam and the Nia now both taking chase towards the shack side of the map, which is where we don't have any objective work to be currently done. They do have the option to start cleansing if they want, which would at least give them a couple health states left.
Health states, and remove this annoying 15% slowdown. And especially when you face a 4-gen setup at the top side of Suffocation Pit, 15% of slowdown can make a lot of difference. That's almost 12 seconds on a generator there if you're working as an individual. They do get the middle one out of the way. That's good, and the safest one, because now you can easily rotate down towards the bottom side. Potentially the plan is to just hide out the power here, not handing out any hook stages, wait until the power is over, and then maybe going for some cleanses on the bottom side to make sure that the plague would waste a ton of time going to pick up the power over there and then coming back all together. That seems to be the best plan here, and as we don't see any survivors, I do think they chose to go for the safe way here.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, we know that at least the one has a lot of progress here, and they're doing a good job playing it safe, I think, through the power, as far as you were saying here. But man, it's tough, because now Boltar has rotated down and has been able to pick up another use of the power here. And we've got a we had a sound notification over here. We now got some scratch marks over here as well, which has at least been able to give Boltar a little bit of a heads up as to where you are. But maybe that was on purpose. We know that the one generator over by the water tower had like 4 pistons moving on it before the dry kick. So maybe someone was committed over here. It doesn't sound like it's going to be getting complete though.
A lot of progress coming into these generators, one after one, a few little steps, unfortunately not enough just yet. Trying to puke on this survivor here, not going to work. We're going around this water tower, but there's a lot of power left, so it's going to be difficult now, forcing the grass out of the locker here, wasting a little bit of killer's time, but it is going to be the hook quite towards the top side between the generator on the water tower and the midsection here. Not most ideal, but something you can work with. And now the survivors that are potentially working on the top left side is really, really difficult because you really can't hand out another down. So from now on, you need to be really careful, and running into the top side like this is far away from being careful.
Yeah, and especially because I don't think you're able to make another revolution around here safely without taking the M1. Not going to be able to get the down through the window there, but this will require our other survivor at this point here to have to come over for the save. That's actually going to be why we see Adam rotating back towards the shack here. Now the question is, where is the last survivor? Because maybe we happen to buy just enough time for us to get the last part of agenda. And actually looks like we have some scratch marks over here. Not sure if maybe we're trying to actually moving around the backside of our main building here. And this is big because I believe we've already gotten rid of a couple of our resources back here. Now that one being down and out of the way as well. Boltar's also going to be collecting up, of course, a little bit more of that speed as we get that bloodlust here as well. Instead does opt to go ahead and break the pallet here, but so much time left on that bleed out timer across the way where and also able to catch the Jake out of position here. This is now going to be the down. And as long as you can secure your slugs, this is a 4K at 4 gens, a really good way to come out and set the pace here for Aberration.
Something that's so interesting about this match is that we are talking about so many 4Ks and so many incredible killer performances here, but especially on Suffocation Pit, a 4K can be a lot around strategy, gen efficiency, and playing out a strong setup, like right here, the 4-gen on the top side that is now a 3-gen, but playing this out in a good way can lead into a 4K here. So it's easy to say we just need 5 generators if we're coming out from the survivor side. Realistically spoken, it's still going to be quite a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, we kind of even saw here, right, where sometimes you can have things going in your favor than the snowball potential. With being able to keep everybody one shot down, I mean, really forces some very tough decisions throughout the course of the trial itself here. So, I was going to say, maybe if you can get lucky, you can force a bleed out. Not going to be able to force a bleed out. Not going to be able to get the hatch play here either, because that's going to be Voltar setting things up. But, I mean, would you expect now, knowing that you don't even have to get into the end game, do you think... Or like, what kind of strategy do you expect to see as far as from the killer for Dawn? I mean, do you think maybe this is where we see, like we've seen before, and them have to come in with a Devour Hope and like a Pentimento sort of deal? Or I mean, what would be your expectation here?
If you take a really huge risk, I can definitely see the Devour Hope being an option. What I wouldn't be surprised of what we have seen by some players is a Brutal Strength to try get rid out of resources on top side or bottom side, then keep your 4 or 3 gen, and having a little bit easier time on doing that by just removing all the resources and forcing the downs in that area way quicker into the match. So I do think either we're going to see something like Brutal Strength, or we're going to see a Devour Hope. I honestly have to say Devour Hope would be such a confident and at the same time so fun pick to watch how that turns out.
Yeah, I feel like we see it sometimes where you actually, I mean, I know we saw it a couple of weeks ago on a Wraith set that you and I called, but I mean, where you can actually get all the way to the Mori, but even sometimes just being able to slow down the game just enough once the third stack hits and they know that they're one shot down, even if they're fully healthy. Of course, that would be the weird part doing it on a Plague, right? Because you're usually going to be playing against people who are already one shot downable anyways, but it could help cause just a little bit of enough disturbance in the mid game, especially if you're lucky with some RNG here. But I mean, Boltar doing what you need to do as far as the first part. Now it's just going to be about their survivors coming out and delivering on their end too.
Welcome back, everybody, to trial number 6 between Dawn and Aberration. Our killer coming out with 8 points here. That means you need a 4K on 2 generators still standing. A tie would be 1 generator still standing, and if Team Aberration manages to get all 5 generators out, then they would move into round 2. It's going to be some pukes on these generators in order to use the power as an information tool. For now, we are not locating any survivors, so we might see a slower start from Team Aberration here.
It is interesting to see, again, another Plague opting to go with the double apple add-on, which means we're going to have more pools available. I think that shows, in this case, not only a little bit of confidence, but also shows a little bit of their understanding of needing to put a lot of pressure down early. We had seen our survivors last round be able to do a good job of holding back the power usage by not cleansing. So at least by starting with the extra pools around, once you feel like you have a nice little start, as we see here, you've got 2 survivors who are working towards the full infection rate there. Oh, now even finding a 3rd survivor here. This is going to give our killer a lot of potential here later on, especially if you can actually move this ace towards getting fully infected and then down, talking about before the corrupt's up.
Yeah, Corrupt being up is going to be really, really difficult for our killer here, because this 3-gen up here that has been covered so far is something you want to work with. Unfortunately, you don't really have the pressure on the survivors yet. You kind of need to puke this ace to the full injury. This was actually quite good. Ace, what is this path thing? It's going to be a difficult one for Boltar. That didn't work out to run in circles around this rock here. So that's a very unfortunate and very quick down for our team here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe just wasn't exactly sure of where to go. Maybe we have our other survivors possibly working on the middle gen, and maybe just was trying to see if they could make a little bit out of nothing there with the one little pallet in the corner. Unfortunately, though, this hook is going to be by another survivor. That's going to be the tap. Tap already being sick means they only need an M1. We do see, though, this generator in the middle has a whole lot of progress, not quite able to make a connection on to the Nia, but is going to take a second to go ahead and kick this middle gen. 25% instant regression thanks to that pop goes the weasel. And now here, when you also include in the Thanatophobia and looking for the last survivor to at least be working towards a health state change, you're going to be slowing down these gens here. Right now, a good start to your trial.
15% slowdown on these generators, while Nia, the final healthy survivor, is moving in for the save. She's kind of trapped here, so that's going to be some free puking, and the stun coming out. This stun is so important, because you don't go down at the top side, but there is going to be a pool of devotion here with corrupted purge. That's going to be 1 volt. That's going to be nice patience, but unfortunately going down here bolted. So what you gained was 60 seconds hang time, but you keep staying in this area here at the top side, and that really works towards Dawn killers.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you're talking about, I mean, all your, I mean, you've only gotten one gen thus far complete. You're going to be able to come back into this middle gen, get another pop goes the weasel. So not only do you have your 3 gen intact here on the top side of the map, you can even consider it a 4 gen. We do come back and disrupt the unhook here. This looks like now going to be counting down the borrowed time. Should be able to get a down here relatively soon. I would imagine, though, moving this far away, trying to buy some time for the remaining survivors to potentially be able to crank out one of these gens over on the 4 gen. I can't think of which gen we haven't been by, though. Maybe thinking that we're buying some time for. We do see, though, the tap kind of close to this hook here. Not sure if maybe that's a potential sabotage slash breakout play here. It is going to at least be a down, and it is going to be an exchange for the hook stage. So at least that's the positive thing. But I don't know if changing the 1-for-1s is worth there.
Yeah, I mean, you gain some time, right? But that's pretty much it. And this time won't really help you if you keep staying in this corner of the map and the generators are still here. That's going to be the difficult one. Yes, you do get a little bit of time. That feels nice, but this time you get by having a fresh hook and these 60 seconds, they need to be used for something, right? And this is where Aberration right now lacks a little bit. I mean, they have knocked out the generator on the top right, so it's a triangle that includes a mid generator. It's going to be more difficult, but they need to make sure that these constant 60-second switches are bringing out some generator efficiency, and I'm not sure if not a reset, maybe 1 or 2 cleanses would be the better call right now.
Yeah, and it's tough because, I mean, now at this point, with even playing into this 4 gen setup right now, our the 3 gen setup, because they were actually able to break up that 4 gen up on the top side there, but not too much motivation to go past like kind of like the 50 here. And it's I understand kind of the situation as far as for our survivors, but I almost wonder, because you've got some, I don't know, there's going to be at least generator number 4, and you have waited out the one use of the power. Oh, and you actually broke up another one of the gens on this side of the map. That's actually big.
That's really, really big now for our team, because now you have 3 in line here. And keep in mind, we do not necessarily need an escape. So this is going to be the decision. Aberration is moving forward into the second round here after very, very strong performances, and now knocking out 5 generators in this final set here between Dawn and Aberration. Congratulations to them. I think they have shown us and proven once again why they are known as a quite efficient survivor team.
Yeah, they always seem to come out and they've got the answers for whatever curveballs seem to be thrown their way. I mean, even here coming out with the more corrupt pools, wasn't able to really get big value out of it just because our survivors were able to continue to put down the pressure from the word go. Looks like maybe even here seeing some cleanses across the way makes me wonder if, since they've already got the deal sealed, maybe we're going to be seeing them try and go for some style points with the last pool and getting the 4 escape here.
That could be something. I mean, if you pull a 4-man escape here for the very end, that would be such a great hype for the round 2. You can also use it as a practice, right? Just say like, hey, we do need this save in the upgrade. They're actually going for it, even though the power's on the table. So these guys are not scared at all.
Yeah, really coming in with the plays here. You had mentioned it, though. The Corrupt Purge was available for our killer here from Dawn. And we do see actually the ace trying. Oh, we even see the Operation SEAL Team Swift over here moving in, trying to see if they can take some protection hits. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get in between our killer and the ace here. We do have, a pallet stun, though. That is going to knock our plague out of the power itself. So that's at least one less tool at her disposal. But she is able to get the M1 onto the tap here and might be able to come out with a better result here. Swings at the window, does get the tap down. We also see that both Thania and the David are both sick, which makes you think that they're both over here trying to get the tap up off of the ground. We do see one survivor retreating. That is going to be the Nia. The Nia not all the way fully sick just quite yet, but she's probably relatively close. It does look like our killer realizes that, trying, oh, not going to be able to get the body block at the pallet space though. And now here at this point, might be risking looking at a full team wipe down here, because now we've got 3 survivors on the ground.
This is now going to be the potential 4K very, very soon. Just the David staying in the trial here. Clay maybe just going for the door here. So this is going to be the... Is it going to be a hook? Our killer seems to be a little bit confused about. There it is. It's going to be 1 elimination. And there's the survivor at the exit gate saying goodbye to our killer. It's going to be a power use once again, pushing David out of the trial here. So at the end, a very nice 3K here. Aberration trying to go for some style points. Kai not fully allowing that. So I think we are wrapping up a game here that has shown us that 2 teams just come out by just a few generators sometimes, which at the same time is coming down to just 1 or 2 decisions that have been made in the trial.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those when we really saw a lot of back and forth over the course of the 3 sets here, all 6 matchups, and we saw both teams really doing a good job on both sides of the matchmaking here. And I think you hit the point right in the head. Unfortunately, as far as in for Dawn, you know, Aberration was just able to capitalize on a couple of those mistakes, and we're going to be seeing Aberration moving on to our next round.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be